This is the richest of all the wildlife lands left anywhere on Earth. Once the communities do get benefits from wildlife, they begin to invest in their own capacity. Hi, I'm David Weston. I've been studying pastoralists and wildlife in East Africa for over 40 years. I look into the seemingly different worlds of people and wildlife to understand how they coexist. In 1994, I founded the African Conservation Center to promote the coexistence of people and wildlife. Today, ACC is an international hub for African conservation, working in areas such as Masai Mara, Amboseli, the Rift Valley, and on global issues such as climate change. Welcome to our world. Welcome to the African Conservation Center. The South Rift Valley is a harsh area crossed by lush wooded rivers. Here humans have coexisted with wildlife for centuries. That age-old balance is now at risk. There has been a very big population growth throughout the wildlife areas. So how do you manage that many people with less and less land per individual? So our idea was simply to use wildlife and tourism for the benefit of local people, such as wildlife industries, natural resource management of various sorts, which gives them a diversified economy on the land. To achieve this goal, ACC helped create 2 conservation areas of stunning beauty and rich in wildlife. Shompole and Olkramatian communities earn income from tourist lodges, game viewing, and other enterprises. One such enterprise is the Resource Center. Managed by a Maasai women's group, the center attracts fee-paying scientists who work alongside local resource assessors. The assessors monitor animals, plants, the environment, and the livelihoods of their community. The information is used by the community to conserve and manage its natural resources and wildlife. Such information is vital in times of drought, when livestock and wildlife face starvation. Science is a hallmark of ACC's efforts to conserve biodiversity and improve the lives of communities. The Resource Center links science to local knowledge and builds the skills of communities to plan and manage the use of resources. These skills are a starting point for new enterprises. The majestic Nguruma Escarpment is the setting for Sampu Lodge. This comfortable tented camp, sponsored by ACC, is owned by the community. Here you can relax on the terrace, enjoy the view, or walk with baboons. Led by a Maasai guide, you enter the fascinating world of baboons and see animals close up. You learn how to coexist with wildlife, as the Maasai have done for centuries. But sometimes, coexistence doesn't come naturally. Amboseli is the jewel in the crown of Kenya's national parks. Once you create a national park, you separate the 2 ecologies, the ecology of pastoral people and their livestock, and the ecology of wildlife. So you tend to get a very high concentration of wildlife, and particularly elephants. Tourists love elephants. Farmers are less impressed. Elephants wandering out of parks can destroy a farmer's crop overnight. To find a peaceable solution, ACC has constructed electric fences around farms to protect crops. Respect for each other's space makes for good neighbors among people and wildlife. However successful coexistence, poaching is always a threat. Snare poaching kills hundreds of animals a year around Amboseli. ACC was the first organization to establish local community scouts in Kenya. Today, the Amboseli Scouts Association employs professionally trained Maasai to curb poaching and conflict and protect biodiversity. Mount Suswa, one of Kenya's best-kept secrets. "10,000 years ago, a violent volcanic explosion shattered the landscape, creating a massive caldera riddled with lava tubes. Here ACC is developing an ecotourist camp that harnesses the natural steam vents to produce drinking water. Such simple natural solutions can change the lives of local people. In arid lands, every tree helps reduce erosion and supply fodder. ACC has developed a simple energy-efficient stove to save trees and make life easier.
I like my energy-saving jiko because I use very few firewood. I can cook 3 pots at a time, so I can even go once a month to collect firewood. But when we were using the open fire, we even go 3 times a month. So it makes my work easier. So I like my energy-saving jiko.
The rolling plains, vast migrating herds, and stark beauty of the African savanna attracts thousands of visitors each year. ACC has sponsored several cultural villages in Masai Mara and Laikipia that are owned and managed by women's groups and bring in money. What we're trying to do in ecotourism is to show the tourists that there's a lot to learn from the people who live on the land. The visitors are invited to join the daily life of a cultural village. Milking cows and herding goats gives a glimpse of the joys and hardships of pastoral life. Keeping the embers of a stone hearth burning takes skill. Cultural visits give the visitor a feel for what it takes to survive in the savannas and a chance to learn how the Maasai are conserving and developing their lands. Visitors are encouraged to support community projects through ACC's tax-deductible charity. Maasai development is sponsored by the proceeds of their enterprises. A women's cooperative developed by ACC produces and markets high-quality traditional beadwork for tourists and outlets around the world. Even environmental disasters can be turned to advantage with a little imagination. Opuntia is an invasive cactus from South America that spread across Mukogodo with overgrazing. After careful research and development, ACC, in collaboration with the Wasanyuru Baboon Project, turned the spiny red fruit into a tasty syrup the community produces and markets as a preserve, cocktail, and health food. Africa, a land of wildlife, a land of people. One of the most important things we have to do in Africa and in Kenya is to create wildlife for Kenyans, to create national parks for Kenyans, to create ecotourism for Kenyans. The spirit of the African Conservation Center is to enable communities to use their natural resources sustainably and to coexist with wildlife as they've done for millennia.